Okay, so let's create one class called connection util. So to class, and we will create this class inside basics and JDBC. Okay, and class name is connection utils. Okay, so this class has been created. So in this class, I will be creating the connection. Okay, and we will use the connection later. So called let's create the method called get connection public static. It returns a SQL connection. Connection is an interface that is available in the SQL package, java.sql package, public static connection, and we will say get connection. Okay, let's return as of now null. Now, as I said, there are a few steps to do that. One first step is step one, load the driver. Driver is a class um, which is available in the driver provided by database. So here in this exercise, I'm going to use MySQL database as I have shown you how to create the database in MySQL. So same SQL database I'm going to use. So for that I need driver. As I said, driver is provided by database. So I have to look for a driver which is provided by database. So in this exercise, I have one driver here, that is MySQL JDBC 5.1.6. I will copy this driver, and inside training I will create one folder, say lib, and inside this lib I will place that jar file. Okay, now in the Eclipse we have to put this jar file in the class path, in the build path. So I have already created that. I have added that library, that jar file inside this library. So I will show you how to do that. I will go here and say add jar and place that jar here. Okay, let's say okay. Now my driver is available. So in for the MySQL, the driver is, if I open that jar file, that is com.mysql jdbc dot driver class. So this class is driver class for MySQL. So we will load this class. How do we load? We will say class dot for name and give the name of that class. The name of that class is com.mysql.jdbc driver. So I will copy this class name and put over here. Okay. So while loading that class, I may get the exception that class may not be found. So what I will do, I will put it that statement into try catch. Okay, to handle it. Okay. Next step is, that is step 2, create the connection. using driver manager. Okay, so driver manager is a class which is available in your SQL package. So we will say driver manager. So driver manager is a class available in SQL package. So driver manager dot get connection. Get connection is the static method. Okay, here I will use the URL, username and password. Okay, so URL of that database which I want to connect, that is, this is JDBC MySQL. This is a convention we need to follow. Okay, let's first put it, Control C, and paste it here. Okay, so JDBC, then type of database, that is MySQL, the URL of that database, that is localhost, and MySQL is running on that local, on my local host on port 3306, that is default port, slash the name of the database. Test JDBC, if you remember, I have created this database for running the queries. Okay, so if you see here in this database, I will say use test JDBC. Okay, and we have created few tables. We have created two tables in department and employee. So that database I'm going to connect. So here this is the URL, JDBC colon MySQL, then path of the database server. In this case, it is localhost, and on which port database is running on that server, and then name of the database. Okay, this line is throwing some SQL exception, so we will catch this one also and handle it. Okay, now my driver connection, driver manage.get connection, the return type of this get connection is SQL connection. So I will say connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection. I will put it this connection inside this class, saying that it is public static connection con. So I will return this connection from this method. Okay, so my in two steps I have created the connection. Now let's create this. Now let's use this connection for creating the statement and executing the query. Okay, so for that, what I will do, I will create another class here. Let this class be as a resource where you can get the connection, then you can use it. Now I will say test JDBC. Okay, so in this just test JDBC, I will write one main method. So what I will do to execute something, first step is to execute some query. First step is to get the connection. Get connection. How will I get the connection? I will say connection on is equal to connection utils dot get connection. Okay, so this connection is available here. So I have created connection from connection utils dot get connection. Now my connection is ready. Okay, let's print it. If you want, you can print it. Let's run this class. There is some issue because in connection utils I have just given the URL. Because it is secured one, I need to pass username, that is root. Then I need to pass the password, that is password. Okay, now if I run test JDBC, I should be able to see the object of that connection class. Okay, now my connection is ready to use. So second step, that is to create a statement. Okay, how will I do? I will say statement that is available in SQL package again, that is interface. Statement stmt is equal to connection dot create statement. When you say create a statement, you can see there are multiple methods, overloaded methods. One is with blank, with no parameter. Second is result set type, okay, and concurrency. So here you will based on the, you can put different type of result set and different type of result set concurrency. Okay, so when you say result set type, you can use forward only, or like forward case, forward sensitive, forward insensitive. Like that you can use it. So if I use here, so that is result set. Okay, so here it is fetch forward, fetch reverse. Okay, type forward only, type is called insensitive, type is called sensitive. So they, you can put different type of result set here in. And suppose I say type forward only, and here I say result set dot, I use concurrency read only. Okay, so you can use it. In this exercise I'm going to use pretty much vanilla. So I will use the default one with no parameter. Here creating the statement can cause some SQL exception, so let's throw the exception here. Okay, now a statement is ready. Then we will execute the query here. So that is the third step, execute the query. This could be DDL or DML queries. So I will say statement stmt dot, let's write one query. In this query I'm going to retrieve all employees. I'm going to retrieve all employees. So I will say select a star from employee. Okay, this is my statement, SQL statement. So I will, sorry, SQL query. So I will say stmt dot execute query. Pass this query. And when I say statement dot execute query, a statement basically binds your SQL query into that. Then it will send that statement to database to be parsed, compile, and execute. So when I say execute, the query will be executed. Okay, the type or return type of this execute query is result set. So I will say result set rs is equal to statement dot execute query. Okay, now This result set is we can move through. Okay, so there is method in this is kind of iterator. You can say that rs dot next, while next, it will you can move through till result set has some element, some result it has. So we will say sys out rs dot get. When I say get, you can return the content of the column. So that column will, you can give the name of column, or you can give the position of column. Position of column starts from one here. So I will say get, and the first column is say id in the employee table. Let's describe the employee table. dsc employee, first column is id. So here what I will say id, because it is integer, I will say get int column index is 1. Okay, and finally if everything is done, I will say that rs dot close. Then I will close the statement dot state stmt dot close, and finally we will close the connection. Okay, now let's run it. If I run this, I can see the ID of those two employees printed over here. Let's print all the details of that employee, of all the employee. Let's remove this SOP. So here I will say ID is 1. Then I say name rs dot get, that is the second column, that is string. Okay, then I say salary, I would say rs dot get int column number 3. I think column number 3 is date of birth. So let's say it is date of birth, rs dot get date. Then we have salary, that is rs dot get int 4. Then we can have department, say rs dot get int, because that is stored as an integer. Okay, now let's run it. Here you will see that for first employee, the details ID add is 1. Let's give some space, then run it again. So ID is 1, name is Shiv, DOB is this one, salary this, department this, and for the same detail for the employee too. Okay, so this is about how to do the selection using JDBC. Okay, let's try to see about um, updating the record, inserting the record, and deleting the record in the employee table.